Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with American Vineyard Magazine, reporting to you from the Central Valley, headquarters of Allied Grape Growers, and I'm here with Nat DiBuduo, president of the association, to give his monthly report on the current status of the California grape industry.
We're going pretty strong with harvest, getting started here in the valley right now with Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio. We're starting this week with some white Zinfandel, actually Thompson Seedless for champagne stock. So we're probably in pretty strong mode right now here in the San Joaquin Valley. So it's people are running and gunning. So it's a busy time scheduling, taking sugars, and working with our growers and harvesters and coordinating it all. So we're a one-stop shop here. You know, we not just handle the growers, but we work with the harvesters and truckers and everybody else. So it's a busy time, but it's a good time. The crop update, I think if we're looking at the crops down here, we think it's lower than average. The French Colombards crop is lighter than we had thought it was. As a Thompson Seedless, we think the crop is lighter than we thought it was. We think the heat and some mildew problems probably has cut into the Thompson Seedless crop. Chardonnay crop is off. Guys that we've already started on Chardonnay crop there, it could be 15 that we heard that some people are already 25% off on Chardonnay. So French Colombards, as I mentioned, 15 to 20% depending on the growers. So we think the crop is off from what it was earlier, and a small crop always gets smaller, as my father always taught me years ago. So I think it's going to be smaller than we had anticipated. I think so. There was some discussion earlier whether we'd hit the 4 million ton average that we thought it was, and I don't think it would be anywhere near that this time. Probably more like 3.8 million tons overall, if we're lucky. Depends on what happens on the North Coast. Up there, we talked to our manager of grower relations earlier. Up there, you know, we'll probably start some Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc at the end of this week, first part of next week. Crop up there looks better than last year, obviously, because that was a real light crop, but it's just a so-so average crop. You know, the reds, if you look at the Petit Trop, Pinot Noir, Cabernet, you got guys that are up and down all over the place. So it's too early to tell what that crop's going to shape up and look like. We've got a long ways to go before the reds are going to be ready. But it looks like a good average crop, but better than probably last year. So, but those guys up there got some great pricing. So they're probably going to be in pretty good shape this year through there. And as we go into the Central Coast, I think south of Monterey County, those guys we're looking at a pretty good deal. I think there's a lot of concern on what's going on in Monterey with the fire and what effect that's going to have with some of those guys down in that area. And I wish them the best, through that whole issue down there. Those guys are good farmers, good growers, and they have some valuable crops in that area down there. There's a lot of rumors out there, Matt, right now about what's going on the Thompson Seedless price, what's going on the hydrator prices. Thompson Seedless price for dehydrators was $220 last year. We've got guys trying to talk that price all the way down to a disaster price. I don't think it ought to go down there. The price for Golden's Thompson Seedless is better price than it was last year for the raisin. So I don't think there's any reason why the prices ought to go down significantly. And they're trying to talk it down based on a fictitious green price. There should be no association with the green price, and there is no green price right now. That's out there. So they're trying to use a lower than real fictitious price to beat down the dehydrator price, and I think there should be a decent dehydrator price. I think the dehydrators ought to keep that price at a significant number. There's speculation out there that there's guys out there trying to buy grapes on an open market with an open contract, and I just don't think there's a reason to do that, at least not right now. Growers ought to be smart enough and to just ask for a solid price, and that's what we're doing, and is looking for a good solid price, maybe a little south of the 220 of last year, but we're not ready to give grapes away yet. And neither should other growers. Moving into harvest, there's a lot of people out there concerned about the Thompson Seedless market, and I think there's there's concern, last year, as we mentioned, probably in our last meeting, there's only 92,000 tons of Thompson seedless that got crushed last year, and there's a whole lot more Thompson seedless that are made, that are grown for raisins, and just don't let the green price or the green crush dictate what happens in the raisin market. If you can, you just gotta, do that. And as we go into, we got bigger things to take care of this year. In all grapes, we got to take care of our labor. We've got to make sure we've got a labor force out there that we can take care of. We've got to make sure we're watching the heat stress. We've got some issues that supposedly happened to the table grapes this last weekend. So make sure we're watching these temperatures and taking care of the heat stress. We're dependent on our labor force. Make sure what's going on out there in the field, and so take care of that situation.
Thank you, Nat. Well, best of luck to all of you going into harvest. Stay current on what's going on in the grape industry by reading American Vineyard Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.